Hi guys, today we've got a couple projects to get done. It should be fairly quick and simple. We're going to be harvesting tomatoes and peppers, and I'm going to be testing out a new method for protecting the tomatoes from birds and squirrels and stuff. So we have over on the raised bed where the tomatoes are, we wrapped the entire thing with bird netting because the squirrels and the birds were getting to the fruit before we were. And you know, if you spend that much time out there, you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor before some of the animals come in. Anyway, so we wrapped the whole thing up, and then I came out one day and I noticed that there was a bird got stuck in the netting, and my heart just stopped. And so I ripped out the netting and set the bird free, and then we decided to remove all the netting. So Mo came out here earlier with me today to help me get all the netting off of the trellis and away from the plants, because also the tops of the plants were growing through the netting and they were starting to strangle themselves out. So I was like, okay, you know what, let's clear all this netting away. It's a pain to work with sometimes. It does serve its purpose, you know, for keeping things out of your garden or out of your raised bed for the initial growing part, especially with seeds. But when you see a bird or something get stuck in there and it's struggling, sorry, no amount of tomato or fruit is worth it for me. I'd rather let them have it and not harm any wildlife whatsoever. So anyway, so that is what we're going to do today. We're going to harvest some tomatoes and peppers and then we're going to test out a new method, and this is the method: pouches. So let me show you these real quick. So I found these on Amazon. I was kind of searching around after that whole bird netting incident, and I decided these had high reviews, so I thought, let's try them. So they're a mesh netting. They allow for water and air to flow through, and they're basically just got a little drawstring at the top. So you just kind of, you know, open them up, put the fruit in, and just cinch it at the top. And I'm hoping that this will deter the birds and stuff, but we're gonna find out, because, you know, they're still gonna see it through here. So I'm hoping that they don't try to attack it and just end up beaking my tomatoes in the bag. So that's what we're gonna try out today. I also wanted to show you what I've been fertilizing my tomatoes with. So I've been using, I planted them in the raised bed with Biotone starter fertilizer and Land and Sea compost. And then about a month later, I came out and started fertilizing them with Tomato Tone. And I just followed the back of the instructions on the bag, just kind of eyeballed it and just sprinkled it around each plant. And then I started noticing, as the tomatoes were setting fruit, that they were starting to suffer from blossom end rot. If you don't know what blossom end rot is, if you've ever seen like your tomato setting fruit and then right towards the bottom where the end of the blossom is, you start to notice that it's starting to get a little darker and darker, and it starts to spread out a little more. And next thing you know, this big black circle is at the bottom of your fruit, and you really don't want to eat it. At least I don't. So that's typically one of the more common signs for blossom end rot. We got an airplane, is a lack of calcium in the soil, because tomatoes are pretty heavy feeders, and I've got 6 of them in a 3x6 raised bed. So you know those guys are just tearing through the nutrition in the soil. So I went to my local nursery and I talked to one of the master gardeners there, and he recommended some Fox Farm Bush Doctor calcium, magnesium, macronutrient drench. You kind of mix 1 tablespoon per gallon or 1 teaspoon per gallon and just kind of drench the soil with them every 2 weeks. So I tried that, and so far it's been working really well. I'm really happy with it. It's really simple to use, and so I'm just gonna kind of keep at it. And then at the end of the season, I'll report back to you guys and let you know overall what I think about this, because, you know, anytime I try anything new, I don't want to tell you guys, oh my God, it's amazing, it's great, go run out and get it. And then the next thing you know, like, it just starts to like not work as well, and everyone's kind of like, what are you recommending? So anyways, but I am always just sharing with you guys the stuff that I'm actually doing in my garden and what's working for me and what's not, because, you know, I know I do watch some channels, and you know, while it's nice and pretty to see these massive harvests and these huge gardens and everything, I like to see, sometimes I like to see the fails, because I have them in my garden. I want to share them with you guys, so that way you guys watch and you're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't try that. Or maybe I will try it, even though, you know, she did and it failed. But, you know, I just want to show you everything that's going on, good and bad. Anyways, so I totally just kind of went left over there. So back to our projects at hand. We're going to start with our tomato harvest and our pepper harvest, and then we'll move on to testing these suckers out. I've got my mom's harvest basket, so we're going to be using this for our first garden harvest, and our Falco pruners. So here's where we're going to be harvesting today. We've got our pepper bed here and our tomato bed over here. There's 6 tomato plants here, and I think about 15 pepper plants in this bed. We started everything from seed, and just look how huge these tomatoes are. They've already gone past the trellising system, and they're starting to hang over that metal electrical conduit. So they're over 8 feet tall right now, and they're still growing. We started these from seed April 30th. We planted them in these beds June 14th. It's now August 10th or 11th, I think, and they are huge. Again, over 8 feet tall, and they're going to continue to keep growing because these are indeterminate tomatoes, and indeterminate tomatoes will continue to grow until either the frost gets them or you top them, as opposed to determinate tomatoes where they're determined to grow to a specific size, set their fruit all at one time, and then they're done. So these will just keep going and going and going until the frost comes, and that's fine with me because I want to see how much fruit we can get from these. So they did lull for a little bit after they started setting their fruit. We got that heat wave, and it was like 95, 100 degrees with 90% humidity for over 3 weeks. So once they started setting their fruit, the heat came and they kind of just pulled back a little bit and just kind of sat there idling for a few weeks. And then the heat wave broke and they started setting more fruit. And now some of that fruit is ripe and ready to harvest. So let's just start over here. We've got our pineapple tomato here. You can see it's setting lots of fruit over here, and even down over here, we've got a big one over here, but none of these are ripe yet. So this one we'll probably check back in a couple weeks. We have our Moscovich tomatoes over here, and while they are setting fruit, we do have a couple in here that are ready to go. I think they have split a little bit from all the rain that we got in the last 2 days, and we're going to get rid of some of these branches, but it is starting to push more fruit. Then we have the San Marzano over here, and this one is really pumping out a bunch of tomatoes. I've even got one branch over here growing sideways, so we're going to harvest those and remove that branch. But look at these sets. They're beautiful. And look at all of this fruit that's still coming out. These sets, there's like 8 tomatoes on each set. How exciting. Our celery is doing well. Our onions that were in here petered out. And over here we've got our Sunrise Bumblebee cherry tomatoes, which I don't know why I forgot that these were cherry tomatoes, but we tried these earlier and oh my gosh, they're so good. Especially when you pick them and they're warm from the sun. Super sweet. They have a nice decent skin on them, not too thick, not too thin. Just overall, I think this is going to be one of my new favorite cherry tomatoes. Sunrise Bumblebee. But you can see it's definitely got some fruits ready to go, and it's definitely setting a lot more on all of these branches. Look at them. Just tons and tons of them. And then over here we've got our Harvest Moon, and oh my God, you guys, look at these. These are beautiful, and there's so many fruits on here. Oh my gosh, these kind of remind me of the pineapples. They look like this, actually with a little bit more of a blush to them. They are reminiscent of the pineapples. Ooh, there's just so many. And they're nice size too, and they're firm. So excited. And then over here we have the Brandywine, which this one has got some fruits on it, but we've already harvested a couple from here, but it's just kind of pushing out more fruit right now. But we did get a couple good sized tomatoes. And then we have our lettuce over here. I mean, our celery, oh my gosh. And then over here in this bed, we've got our Jalafuegos on this side, our Armageddon peppers on this side, and then right in the center, we've got some Armageddons and a mixture of random seeds that were given to me. So don't really know what they are, but look at this, look at the fruits on these things. They're just everywhere. Let me show you another one. Look at that. Look at all of those fruits, and there's still more coming. All right, guys, I am so excited. I'm gonna grab my basket and just start harvesting. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at all these tomatoes and peppers. I totally forgot we had a bell pepper in there. These are the Armageddons, all wrinkly and crinkly. These are deadly. These are the Jalafuegos. These are really good. These are a little bit spicier than jalapenos, but they produce so much more than the jalapenos that I've grown before. These are the Harvest Moons, and wow, that's crazy. Look at that. That's like a 3-4 pounder. Oh, so excited. Moscovich, San Marzanos, and these are the Sunrise Bumblebees, my new favorite cherry tomato. So good. Oh my God, I could eat all of these. Yum. Okay, now let's start on these pouches. And I'll show you how I'm gonna do one, and then I'll just do the rest of all the fruit that's there. There's, by the way, so many more peppers on these pepper plants. I couldn't pick them all because I'm like, what am I gonna do with them? And they still probably have like another week or so left on the vine, which is good because that's a lot of peppers. I need some recipes. I wanna try, if any of you have tried cowboy candy, those candied jalapenos, send me some recipes because they look so good. So I think this is pretty standard as far as getting the fruit in the bag and then just cinching the drawstring. So I'm gonna show you one and then I'll do the rest of them because we still have a lot of fruit on here. I don't think I mentioned it too, but these are 6x8 inch bags. I also got 8x12 inch bags too because I figured they may be useful for the blueberry bush and the cucumbers and zucchinis just in case. Okay, so I'm using the 6x8 bag and I'm just going to push the fruit in here. Just one tomato's going in. And then I'm just going to cinch it. Pull the drawstring. And there it is. I hope this works, you guys. All right guys, we've got everything harvested and we've got these little mesh pouches on all of the tomato plants. I think I used over 100, which was a little tedious, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, that means there's 100 sets of fruit all over these plants. So that's actually very, very promising. I did come in on a couple of these and get rid of some of those lighter colored leaves and some just branches, some stems that just had a bunch of foliage all the way up to the top. They weren't really doing anything. I think the reason that some of these leaves turned a little yellow, I think it was just the deluge of water for 2.5 days. But really happy with these plants, with these pouches. I hope they work. I'll keep you guys updated and informed on whether or not we still have tomatoes on our plants. And the peppers, there's still so many peppers on here, you guys. I couldn't harvest all of them because I don't know what I'm gonna do with them all right now, but there's so many. Really, really loving the jalafuegos. And I am super happy with everything that we harvested today. I mean, it's so pretty. Look at this. Look at all of this color, all of this produce. Get away, fly. We grew all of this from seed. Isn't that awesome? These are the Armageddons. So I think I may have picked some peppers from one of the mystery plants because they don't look the same, but everything here looks so good. San Marzanos, the Harvest Moons, you guys, wow. These things are gorgeous and huge and heavy. Oh, I love it. Now here's one thing that I want to tell you guys. You don't have to let your tomatoes harvest completely on the vine. Once they get to about 50%, that's called the breaker stage. Once they get to 50%, you can pick them, put them inside on like a kitchen counter where it gets indirect bright light, and they'll ripen off the vine. And that way they'll take a little longer, but you know, if you have a bunch of produce coming in, you won't have to use it all at one time. And these are the jalafuegos. You guys, look how huge these are. I actually like these a lot better than jalapenos. And I did say before that these jalafuego plants are producing so much more than the regular jalapenos. All in all, loving it all. These are my favorite new cherry tomatoes. Sunrise Bumblebees, so good. Really, really happy with everything. And I'll keep you guys updated on how these mesh pouches are working. If they are working, I'll post updates on my Instagram account. So if you're not following me there, make sure you are. And if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you get a chance to get out into your garden and get a little dirty. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.